Sam is a sculptor.
There's a magic to Sam's work.
Sam has remained kind of wild.
I always look at it as a puzzle. A snapshot or a moment. I'm not a figurative artist. They're just abstract sculptures of shapes relating to each other. It floats. The ocean has played a big part in my work. It curves and surrounds and undulates, which is very fascinating to me. Something that is constantly changing form and shape. It adds to the illusion that it's somehow more malleable than it is. When someone sees a four-sided piece of wood bent into a circle, it's a little bit incongruous to them. I didn't, know exactly what I was going to do as far as a body of work, whatever. You're just making stuff. I went to CCAC and started working with Paul Harris, who was a faculty member in the sculpture department. And then somehow in that senior year, I discovered the curve. And my work is all about the curve. I first met John Rosecrans in Viola Fry's studio, and he was just beginning to start collecting art to make an outdoor sculpture park. 3 of us in all would go down on the weekends, and we would bring a crane that he would rent, and we would install whatever art that had come in that week. It ended up turning into a long-term thing. He seemed to appreciate my art, and he bought the Blue Gate piece a year before I graduated. And then the leaning ring and 2 limbs akimbo he bought from my graduate show. The Rosecrans family has continued supporting me to this day as far as sourcing my material for the wood and letting me use some of their equipment to obtain the wood. The biggest decisions are how long to cut it, how much of it do I want. Another thing that I love about wood is it's really about the only material that you can look at and measure your life. I mean, it's got rings. It tells you how old it is. I usually start with really big drill bits and make entries for chainsaws into the piece. And then it's sanding the whole piece, and then it's a lot of hand files to true up curves, lines. And most of my sculpture tends to be made of what I would call shapes that have 4 sides. And I like that because I want to reference wood as we most know wood, which is lumber. And that's a 4-sided thing.
You're looking at tension and balance and color. There's something dancing and moving there. Sam grew up on Hawaii, and he was 3rd generation and comes from a line of athletes and makers that dealt with canoes and water sports, and it lives in him. And I think perhaps the same flow that lives in the studio as he works with wood also is what he brings forth from his childhood, watching people make things out of wood. Sam, in the program of the Rena Branston Gallery, is a long conversation, as it is with each artist. Sam is a sculptor. The notion of inside or outside, the composition of a piece in space, those are formal concerns, because he's responding to the structure of the original material, the tree itself. What you're not going to see is the commitment that he has given to people, to the ocean, to his child, to taking care of a very frail Viola Fry.
Collectors who seek out Sam's work generally are very attuned to the environment, and they honor nature, and they want to have something in their home that will remind them of the beauty and the strength and the power of nature. There's a magic to Sam's work. He uses chainsaws, which are incredibly loud, also very jagged, are known for violence, and it's a violent act.
You can think about people like Mark DeSuver or even someone like Richard Serra, who came from the West Coast but left. You know, Sam has remained kind of wild. Sam's work grapples with this existential question, like, we're a moment in time, and we're actually quite insignificant in the broader picture, but he says, no, we can find meaning and satisfaction and have a life worth living. So I think that's why his work is quite profound. It's kind of courageous in that. He sees how small we are, but he still says it matters what we say.
I wanted to do a grand piece when I was talking about undulating organism things. This is that to me. This writhing mass is just one moment. I love the scale variation and the line and just some of the little twists and turns that you can look at it forever